afternoon and welcome to Community Club, everyone. Today we're focusing on something a little bit different today. Today we welcome Deb Motley. She is a female librarian by trade and has a supporting a reading club for those with challenges. We are here excited to learn about this wonderful club. And our audience is excited to become aware of this in various opportunities available to them, to guide them and encourage those with challenges, to stretch their interests and gain progress in reading, and sharing friendship and skills. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Deb Motley. Hello, Deb. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Deb, tell me a little about yourself growing up. Family growing up.
Growing up, I grew up in Detroit.
Oh, that's cool.
And I have two brothers and a sister. I'm number 3 of 4. And we moved to Birmingham when I was 13. And I'm still very close to my family, although we live all over the country now. And my parents are 92 years old.
92.
Still
Nice.
alive and still hanging in there. Yep.
That's good.
Yep. And I have a dog and a cat, and I'm married and have 2 sons.
Nice.
Aaron?
Now, I have various school steps.
My various
School steps.
school.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I went to school in Detroit and then till 8th grade, and then we moved to Birmingham, and I graduated from high school in Birmingham. And then I went to the University of Michigan and got a bachelor's degree there in something I called community mental health. It was called a independent study. And from there, I went to Brandeis University and got a master's degree in something called community mental health, human services management, because my idea was to start group homes for people who have various challenges, which is what I did. And then after doing that for 20 years, I went back to school and got a library science degree and became a librarian.
Wow.
Cool.
So, yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I've done a lot of school.
Please share your schooling and college degrees.
So I have a high school diploma and I have a master's degree, as I said, in community mental health, and then I have another master's degree in human services management, and then another master's degree in library science.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Now, Deb, so what is your current job history?
My job history, well, I ran the group homes as the executive director
Okay.
for 20 years, and I had 8 group homes at one time and several people that I was in charge of who lived independently. And then I became a librarian. So I worked here in Lake Orion. I worked at the Orion Township Library as the teen librarian for 7 years, and then I became the outreach librarian. And as an outreach librarian, I started the book club here in Lake Orion. And then I went to Rochester and worked at the Rochester Library for a few years and started 2 book clubs there. And now I work in Romeo, and I'm working to set up a book club in Romeo as well.
Oh.
Yeah, I've done a lot.
Tell us about your job as a librarian.
My job as a librarian?
Uh-huh.
Well, now my job in Romeo is I'm the head of public services, which means I supervise all the librarians, both the adult and the children's. And I still focus a lot on outreach. So I'm very much focused on getting people who wouldn't normally use the library either into the library or taking the library to them. That's what I think my job is. So that's what I do.
Excellent.
Can you please describe our friend's book club?
Okay. So when I was a librarian in Orion, I saw this thing called the Next Chapter Book Club. And it was a book club for people who have challenges, and it really interested me because, as I said, I was a group home administrator for many years, and now I was a librarian, and this sort of got the 2 things together, so it was really exciting for me. So there was a group of people who worked at a workshop in downtown Lake Orion, and they came to the library to volunteer, and I asked if they would like to be in a book club, and they said yes. This was 7 or 8 years ago. And so they came to the book club. We meet at CJ's restaurant in Lake Orion. The workshop is just down the road, so they come on Tuesday mornings. That we come and we read books, and that that one, as I said, some of the people that are in that have been there the entire time, for the entire 8 years. And we read books like, we just finished something called Rules, which is sort of a middle school level or high elementary level book. And we've read things like Harry Potter, and we've read Because of Winn-Dixie, and we've read the Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. So we've read a lot of really good books. And then I started 2, as I said, in Rochester. One is at Barnes & Noble, and it's a group. I don't participate anymore because I work in Romeo now, but that's being run by a volunteer. And then there's the one, what we call the Friends Book Club, and that meets on Thursday nights at Bean and Leaf in Rochester. And there's 8 people in that group, and we read really fun books in that book club as well. And tonight, this week, we're going out to dinner together. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh.
That should be nice.
Yeah. I'm
You
looking
know,
forward to that.
people may have known about it. So could you please tell us other organizations for those with special needs? Because somebody who has, maybe someone who has a disabled person, may have someone with the challenges or the special needs in that area. So what kinds of things would you tell us about? What kinds of things would you, if someone said, hey, I want to do this book club, what kinds of things would you want to have the person do?
The person who has the disability, or the person who's asking me about a disability?
The person who has the disability.
Well, the book club is a lot of fun, and you don't have to read, which is one of the misconceptions people have, is that you have to join the book club, you have to be able to read. A lot of our participants don't read very well, but we help them. So wherever they are in their reading ability, we help them read, or if they can read totally by themselves, we let them read by themselves. So we read every week. Instead of reading at home and coming and talk about a book, we all read it together and talk about it together as we go on.
Ah.
So it's a weekly meeting, and we meet and always in a public place like a restaurant or Barnes & Noble in the cafeteria or a restaurant. And the reason for that is that gives you, a person with a challenge, the ability to order and get to know the baristas or the waiters, and then also it's a time for you to socialize with people, the volunteers who work in the book club, and also with each other. The book club, the Friends Book Club on Thursday nights, they all text each other, and I'm on Facebook with all of them, and so we have quite a bit of fun together. And sometimes it's a half hour before we actually start reading because we're just enjoying each other's company.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's a very fun book club.
Good. Sounds like a very fun book club.
It is, very much so.
Yeah. Is this the official book club? Is this the official book club that has other book clubs around the world?
Yes, it is. Actually, the Next Chapter Book Club was started by people from Ohio State University. And from the time that I started, they've grown quite a bit. But there are book clubs, Next Chapter book clubs, all over the world. They have them in Canada and Germany and Israel and England, so they are all over the world. They just started them in Australia recently. I got a notice about that. So I think at this point there's probably 250 book clubs throughout the world.
Oh, 250?
Probably, yeah. A lot of them are in Ohio because that's where Ohio State University is, but they're all over the country, and the world.
Okay.
Much interesting folks join. Is there a registration form and/or fee?
No, there's no fee at all. It's free, and except for that people bring money in order to buy drinks or something. You know, when we go to Barnes & Noble or to Bean and Leaf, people will buy snacks or whatever so that you can drink coffee or pop or smoothies while you're discussing a book.
Cool.
And but the books are free, and the book club is free. So usually the books that we get, because I'm a librarian, I have access to lots of books. And
Nice.
so we bring enough books so that everyone can have a copy while we're reading it.
Cool.
So where and when do you meet?
Well, excuse me, the book club in Lake Orion meets, as I said, on Tuesday mornings at 10 o'clock at CJ's Restaurant. That's the one that's been going on for quite a while. And they actually expanded to another book club in Lake Orion on Mondays at the same place, same time at CJ's Restaurant in the morning. And then the one through Rochester Library that I started is at Barnes & Noble on Thursdays at noon, I believe. And then, as I said, I'm not involved with that one so much anymore. But also then there's the one on Thursday evenings, the Friends Book Club, and we meet at Bean and Leaf at 5:30.
Oh.
Yep.
What is the meeting agenda?
The media agenda, it's pretty loose. I mean, it depends on what people want to do, but first of all, everyone chooses the book together. So I usually come with 3 books and say, which one do you want? The agenda usually is we get there and we just talk. Usually we talk about how your week was, what's going on in your life. Everyone gets a chance to participate in just having a social conversation if you want. And then we get down to reading the book. So we'll read a few paragraphs and we'll stop and say, hey, what do you think just happened? Or what do you think's going to happen? Or we just talk about the book a little bit. And that goes until for about an hour.
Okay.
And everybody reads 1 page, and then the next person gets to read it. And as I said, you don't have to read. If you can read, you read the entire page. If you can't read, we'll just point out the words and read with you for an
Cool.
entire page. Yep.
Please share some of the club goals.
The club goals.
Yeah.
Well, the club goals, there are 3 parts that are the goals. One is that people with challenges can interact with the community. As I said, get to know people in the restaurant or the coffee shop. So it's a social thing with the community, and it shows the community that people who have certain disabilities are still able to read and participate in an activity that's the same for them as it is for us, and everybody can understand that it's an adult thing to do to be able to have a book club, and that's a really good thing. And then it's also a good time to socialize, and some people in my book club have said that this is the highlight of their week because they don't always get to socialize with other people. Usually it's a much more structured environment in which they meet people. So you're either in a workshop or you're in school, and so it's very structured. This is much more loose and just kind of a way for people to just to relax and enjoy each other. And then the third thing is literacy. Now, again, we're not teaching people to read because I'm not a teacher and most of the volunteers aren't teachers, but we're teaching to learn. So we're not learning to read, we're reading to learn. So it's more about what we talk about while we're reading the books. That's important.
Cool.
This book club sounds interesting to me. I think I'm just kind of may want to join this book club. It sounds fun.
Well, at this point, all the book clubs that I'm running right at the moment are kind of full, but I'm always willing to run another book club.
Okay, I'll think
so
about
if you're wanting another book club, you guys get together and you let me know, and we'll make sure we get
Our
something
book is
started.
signed,
Okay.
and then discuss orally, because some people who haven't read a book may say, hey, I need to read this book or that book. So do you assign books and then you discuss them orally?
Well, no, like I said, we mostly read the books together.
Okay.
So, and if someone has a book suggestion and everyone agrees, then we'll read that book, but we read it together.
Oh. And my favorite book of all time I could read was a story called The Boxcar Children.
Oh yeah, that's a good series.
The Boxcar Children?
Yes.
Yeah, they're mysteries.
It's a very, I read it when I was a kid. It talked about these 3 people
Yeah.
who were in a boxcar. And it was a very, very good series. I highly recommend you read that series. You'll love it.
Okay. Okay.
Aaron, it's your turn.
Yep. Who leads the discussions?
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, usually I will ask questions about things or lead discussions about things, but if anyone can, say whatever they, bring up a topic if they want to or what they want to talk about. So I guess I try to say that no one's really the leader. We're all sort of doing it together.
Yeah.
All club members encouraged to share and to speak.
I'm sorry, say that again?
All the club members encouraged to share and to speak. their
Oh,
thoughts.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, usually if I ask a question, I want to know how everybody feels about it. Now, sometimes there's people who don't want to speak, and I don't make people speak, but if someone has something to say, I absolutely want to hear what they have to say.
Other ways to check understanding and growth in reading levels. Is this important?
Well, again, we're not in the business of teaching to read, so that's not the goal, but the goal is to get people familiar with literature and being encouraged. Now, my observation, because I don't measure this, although some people in the Next Chapter book clubs in other places do, but just from what I notice, a lot of people have gotten more fluent in their reading, or more recognizing more words when they read, or able to discuss things at a higher level of discussion rather than just a yes or a no.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What guidance is provided to club members in taking turns?
Well, in almost every case, we go around the table, and everyone takes their turn. And usually, what happens is I'll ask who wants to start, reading that day. Sometimes the same person says it first, and so I'll say, well, let's try someone else this time. But I've never had any trouble having people take turns. They know that it's when it's their turn, and they're ready to read when it's their turn. So people have been very, very polite in the book clubs and haven't given me any trouble about that kind of stuff. Although I will say sometimes when one person's reading, people have side conversations.
Oh, yeah.
But,
That always happens.
but that always happens, yeah.
I know that all the time. David?
And I'm guilty of it too, so.
I mean, we're all
I'm
guilty of it.
yeah.
Of course we are.
Social skills are highly important to those with challenges. How does the club support and practice social skills?
That's a very good question. Because we're meeting in public, and that's one of the reasons why we meet in public, people are automatically on very good behavior. And, we talk about conversation and how to have a good conversation. And, when the waitress or waiter comes, or we go up to the counter to talk to people, we're very conscious of being polite and doing the thing that is right in the situation. So, again, it's not something that I teach particularly, but if someone's kind of out of line, I'll sort of point that kind of thing out.
Oh, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how does the leader guide a topic and sharing turns and friendship turns? Because sometimes, like if someone may say, hey, I want to talk about this topic or that topic, is there a way to make people understand that particular topic talking about?
Well, I try to make sure that people understand the questions, and if they don't, I'll try to say it in a different way so that they will. And sometimes, it's just simpler to ask a yes or no question if that's where someone's ability, if that's where that lies.
Please tell us about the Ohio State connection.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I hear that.
Me too.
I know, I'm a Michigan girl, so it's very hard for me to talk about this, but I will. So, a man in Ohio State, they have a Center for Developmental Disabilities, and his name is Tom Fish.
Okay.
And he's the one who had the brainchild, the idea of the book clubs, and he started some there in Ohio. So that's sort of the place that started it. And when I got trained to be a trainer, I went to Ohio State and spent a couple days there, and they did the training. Nowadays, as I said, it's been a few years. Nowadays, they have everything's on video, and you don't have to go anywhere. But Ohio State is still a very integral part of the whole process of the Next Chapter Book Club.
Cool.
Yeah, and they have books, so like if a book club is out of books or needs extra books, you can always, they'll send them to you for free.
Cool. Dave.
Oh. Do book club members carry on friendships outside the club? If so, please choose your example.
Well, yes, it's very exciting, actually. In
Tell us.
our friends book club, some people have become best friends. Like I said, they're on Facebook together, and they text each other, and they know what's going on with each other. 2 people in the club go to, well, actually, most of them, they'll go to plays together or movies, or 2 women have spent the night at each other's house. So it's become a very tight social group, and they do a lot of things outside the book club that they wouldn't have done otherwise.
Do the book club members carry on friendships outside the club? And if so, and please share some examples.
Well, that's what that was an example. Like, I know that someone knew about a play at the University of Oakland University. I'm sorry, and a couple or three people went together to see that, and they have gone out to dinner together and done some very special things.
All right.
Do you guys read comic books too?
We haven't, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean we couldn't.
Good.
We absolutely could read a comic book if someone had one that they wanted all of us to read together. Sure.
Because that would be good too, like a good superhero comic book.
Yeah, you're a good superhero comic book lover.
Yep.
Absolutely, we could do that if you were in a book club.
I recommend a book. I recommend you read The Little Lady Who Was Not Afraid of Anything. It's a wonderful story.
I built a book on that. The new Harry Potter book, The Cursed Child.
Child, yeah.
Do that for us.
Well, we've only read the first Harry Potter book. I don't know if I guess we could still read The Cursed Child, but we'd have to read all of them to get there. And it took us about 6 months to read Harry Potter, so.
All right.
Please tell us a success story.
A success story.
Yep.
Something positive.
Well, it's all positive. I've had such wonderful, wonderful experiences with the book club. In fact, on the one that meets on Tuesday mornings, and I started that one. That was my first one. I've had a couple jobs since then, and I insist on not working Tuesday mornings so I can still attend that. But in any case, I'll tell you about Al in that book club.
Al.
Guy named Al, and Al has cerebral palsy.
Okay.
And he can't even hold a book because he's sort of a little bit disabled. He has cerebral palsy, so his muscles are very, very tight. So I sit next to him and I help him with his drink and stuff like that. And because he has cerebral palsy, he speaks it's really difficult for him to speak, but we have a conversation all the time, he and I. And sometimes I get stuck, and he's the most patient man in the entire university because he'll say the word over and over and over again until I get it.
Yeah.
And but what I've noticed for Al is that he's becoming more and more articulate the more we're in the book club. He can't read on his own. Like I said, he can't even hold a book. So I read a sentence and he reads after me, and he's become more and more able to read or to articulate the words as we read together.
That's cool.
Yeah,
pretty
it's very
cool.
cool. Yep,
Reading is an important skill to learn.
absolutely.
When I was in school, I learned reading I was at a young age.
Yeah, yeah.
David, would you please close?
Okay. Today, our guest, DeWitt Motley, shared her love of reading with a deep desire to provide a reading format for those with disabilities who can come together with caring guidance to meet and be involved in a learning environment that is supportive, patient, caring, and encouraging, and provides various degrees of success. Thank you, DeWitt Motley.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm
I
David
appreciate it.
Taylor, and my two friends are.
My name is Aaron Connie Castle.
I'm Ryan Lucas Green, watching CMN TV on TV and YouTube.
That's right.
See you all next time on Community
Exactly.
Corner. Bye now.
Happy fishing.
Happy fishing.